Are you afraid to begin again? I was, the morning I realized my old life no longer fit like a coat that shrank in the wash. The house was quiet and a little echoey. The tea kettle clicked and began its soft whine. I wrapped both palms around a mug and felt heat move into my fingers, steady as tide. Outside, the street glistened from a thin night rain. The air smelled like wet concrete and the first slice of lemon. I stood in the doorway and said out loud, "We can go slowly." Starting over after 60 is a body event, as much as a calendar note. My shoulders tried to hurry. My jaw held its breath. So I gave the day a rhythm I could feel. 4 counts in, 6 counts out. Lamp on, news off. Oatmeal with cinnamon, not a skipped meal that turns the world sharp. I opened a notebook and wrote 3 small headings. Keep, loosen, learn. Keep held what already worked. The morning walk until the sparrows scolded me from the hedge. Loosen held the things that pinched. 2 committees, 1 group chat that buzzed like a fly. Learn carried a word I did not yet own. Carpentry, watercolor, strength. People who study change say humans follow what they rehearse. So I rehearsed softness as policy, not prize. I called the first week orientation, like a new job with a kinder supervisor. My tasks were simple: map the neighborhood, find a bench that feels like mine, learn the library's hours, memorize the scent of the nearest bakery so I could walk toward it when my compass failed. At noon, I washed a plate and noticed the water temperature, the small squeak of ceramic against my palm, the way soap smelled a little like an orchard. These details were not decoration. They were anchors. Every time my thoughts sprinted to the cliff edge, what if I don't belong anywhere? I returned to the counter, to the window, to the bird insisting on itself on the line. The day lengthened. The room said, "You're allowed to start at the smallest door." I thought pace would arrive from the world. It didn't. It arrived from my feet. I tried a 10-minute lap around the block, then another the next day. Same route, same soft shoes. The sidewalk under the sycamores felt cool through the rubber. The leaves showed their pale undersides like pages fanned by a thumb. I timed nothing but breath. I told myself, go at the speed of noticing. Paperwork still nipped at my ankles. A new doctor, a new password. The pension office's gray envelope with the window that looks like an eye. I made a 2-sided card. Must/maybe. Must meant medicine, money, promises. Maybe meant everything else that whispers urgent but doesn't feed me. Between musts, I practiced 5-minute resets. A warm towel across my shoulders, a glass of water with lemon, wrists under the tap until I could feel my hands again. Direction asked for a gentler tool than ambition. So I drew a small compass in my notebook. North was nourish, east was explore, south was steady, west was wait. Each morning I drew 1 line from the center, not all 4. If the needle pointed north, I cooked soup and called it progress. If east, I sat at the back of a watercolor class and let paint bloom on cold paper, blue bleeding into green like quiet arguments that end well. If south, I mended a hem and paid 1 bill. If west, I sat on the porch with tea and trusted the sky to tilt without my help. Information softly. Change lands better in bodies that feel safe. So I made safety visible. A small flashlight by the bed, a list of phone numbers on real paper, inked in friendly blue, walking shoes by the door, so leaving the house never required a hunt. I let myself be a beginner with the tenderness I give children tying their shoes, over and over until it held. At night, I wrote 1 sentence about direction. Today, I faced east for 20 quiet minutes, and it was enough. The pen's scratch on the page was the day's soft applause. I slept with the window cracked and the room smelled like wet leaves and a little city dust. A siren rose and faded, and I thought, this too is a tide I can learn. I. Starting over also meant starting small experiments that could fail without breaking me. I called them T-length trials, projects that could be planned in the time it takes water to boil and finished before the mug goes cold. On Monday, I put a sticky note on the fridge that read, call 2 places about volunteer shifts. Smile into the receiver like it will be heard. On Wednesday, I asked the librarian about community classes. Her perfume smelled like orange peel and old paper, a comfort I didn't know I missed. I practiced tiny internships with my future self, 1 week stints, breakfast outdoors, 30 minutes of carpentry videos, a trial run of tutoring reading at the elementary school. The first afternoon with the third graders was noisy with pencil taps and sneaker squeaks. A child's laughter rang like a bell jar. I left smelling like glue sticks and hand soap, a kind scent that lingered even in my coat. There is science in this that feels kind. Our brains like novelty, tucked into routine, the way herbs like warm oil. Change releases its flavor when held. So I paired experiments with rituals, Tuesday soup, Thursday laundry, Saturday flowers, even if it's only one stem. The predictability became scaffolding. The new grew without wobbling off the edge. I made a map of rooms in my week. A workroom for tasks that pay or serve, a practice room for skills with no audience, a listening room where I call the friend who knows when to hum instead of fix. I scheduled these rooms in blocks of 90 minutes, with a 5-minute doorway between. Stand, sip water, look at something far, let the eyes soften, return. The doorways mattered. They kept me from carrying sawdust into the soup. Some afternoons, loneliness floated in like a curtain I forgot to pin back. I let it, I named it. I folded laundry with the radio barely audible, just a low river of strings. I wrote on an index card, I am allowed to want more. Then I wrote, I am allowed to want less. Both sentences made the room wider. The cat blinked as if to agree. Practicalities shape kindness. I simplified money into 3 labeled envelopes I could touch: foundations, flow, and flourish. Foundations paid the sturdy things: rent, utilities, prescriptions. Flow fed the daily: groceries that smell like peaches in summer, bus fare, the occasional croissant dusting my fingertips with sugar. Flourish was for brave seedlings: class fees, museum day, a train to see the ocean and remember my own scale. When I slid a bill into Flourish, the paper made a pleasant rasp. The sound felt like permission. Advice arrived from all directions, well-meaning as dandelion fluff, and just as persistent. I wrote 3 boundary phrases on a card by the phone. Thanks for caring. I'm choosing a slower pace. That's not my direction this month. I'll let you know if I want help. I practiced them in the mirror with a soft face and low shoulders until they fit. When I used them, the room kept its temperature. The house had opinions, too. Closets asked to be cleared. Drawers sounded like maracas from excess. I set a kitchen timer for 10 minutes and sorted a single shelf. The good dish towels went to the front. The threadbare ones became rags that made sinks shine. The smell of vinegar and lemon moved through the kitchen. The window fogged and cleared. Decluttering did not mean erasing history. I kept the chipped mug with the blue stripe because his hands held it. I let go of 3 vases that never learned my flowers. Health asked to be less heroic and more honest. I scheduled checkups in daylight and packed almonds to respect blood sugar and mood. I moved like a person who intended to keep using these knees, walked the hill slowly, stretched with the radio murmuring old waltzes that made my hips kinder. I wrote on the calendar in big letters, "Sleep is a plan, not a treat." The next morning felt more breathable. When I worried about being late to the party of my own life, I stood by the sink and watched steam rise from the dishwater in white ribbons. Late is a story. Present is a place. I dried a plate and stacked it with its siblings. The cupboard made a soft thock as it closed. I stood still long enough to feel the room agree. Direction arrived sideways as belonging. The bench I claimed near the bakery grew into a station. People nodded, then said hello. A woman with a dog named Daisy left me half a scone once, and we both pretended it was an accident. I joined a Saturday group that walks slow on purpose and names trees out loud. The ginkgo's fan, the maple's palm, the oak's hand that never rushes. The city sounded different at that speed. Bikes whispering, pigeons muttering, children testing echo under the bridge. On the first truly warm afternoon, I took the train to the ocean. The air tasted like salt and possibility. I let wind rearrange my hair without apology. I wrote a letter to the life I thought I had to keep. Thank you for carrying me this far. I am building rooms you cannot imagine yet, with windows that face the light I have now. I folded the letter into my pocket like a map I might not need, but enjoy holding. In the evening, I made a ceremony. Nothing grand, a plate, a sprig of rosemary, a glass of water with slices catching the lamplight, a piece of toast that crackled when I broke it. I read the names of what I'm keeping: morning walks, soup on Tuesdays, the laugh I thought I had lost. I read the names of what I'm loosening: the hurry that bruised me, the chair at the table I no longer have to manage. I read the names of what I'm learning: to be new where I am, to move at the speed of noticing, to rest like it's my job. If you are beginning again, try this compass for a month. Nourish, explore, steady, wait. Pick one each day and let it be enough. Carry one boundary sentence on a card. Keep one flourished dollar where you can touch it. Practice leaving doorways between rooms. When doubt barks, name 10 colors you can see right now and watch the body return from the future it was trying to solve. Night comes with its chorus, radiator ticks, a neighbor's laugh, a distant truck sighing downshift. I open the window an inch and let the cool find my wrists. Starting over after 60 is not a sprint through a finish line. It is a long walk home with good shoes, a thermos, and a quiet song you can hum more than once. I turn off the lamp. The house breathes. I do too. Tomorrow will have a direction, and I will meet it softly.